reveals alleged abusive sexual contact and other inhumane conditions at Camp East Montana Detention Center. What the group is claiming is taking place at the center located at Fort Bliss and their calls to shut it down. Then President Trump has announced that he plans to sign an executive order this week streamlining rules for AI across the country. Why he says one rule book should be used across the board. And Robert, it was cold this morning and now it's warm as we're getting into the evening.
I know, it's kind of crazy. It was our first freeze this morning with a low of 28 at the airport, yet it's 65 this afternoon, and we're about to move into the 70s. I'm going to have your detailed forecast. We're live on KTSM 9+, and your news starts right now.
This is KTSM 9 News, breaking news.
Beatings, medical neglect, insufficient, and even rotten food are among the long list of allegations made against Camp East Montana, the migrant detention facility on Fort Bliss. Thanks for choosing KTSM 9+. I'm Diana Castillo. Monica Cortez has the day off. Now, just a few hours ago, several human rights groups led by the ACLU of Texas are sending a letter to ICE officials to stop detaining migrants at the camp. Now, in a detailed news release, the groups summarized alleged horrific conditions, including beatings and sexual abuse by officers against detained immigrants. Now, the letter follows months of interviews with dozens of migrants held at the camp and is accompanied by several sworn declarations by immigrants detained at the facility. Now, graphically describing abuse by guards, supervisors, and others. Now, this isn't the first time Camp East Montana has come under fire. Earlier this year, a Washington Post report claimed that Fort Bliss facility violated over 60 federal detention standards in the first 50 days of its opening. The detention center opened its doors this summer. Now, KTSM has reached out to Immigration and Customs Enforcement for comment, and officials with local ICE office asked us to reach out to the Department of Homeland Security's office in Washington. Now, we are still waiting a response. To read the full documents and stay up to date with the latest on this story, you can visit our website, ktsm.com. And now to an update. A woman has died after a crash in El Paso's Lower Valley early Sunday morning. According to El Paso police, officers responded at around 3 a.m. at North Loop Drive in reference to a single vehicle crash. Preliminary investigation revealed that 68-year-old Sylvia Morales was driving east on North Loop Drive and struck a metal pole after attempting to make a left turn on Yarborough Drive. Morales was taken to a hospital where she later died as a result of her injuries. Now, meanwhile, El Paso police are investigating a shooting that happened at UTEP early Sunday. According to EPPD, the shooting happened around 1:30 in the morning on North Mesa. New this afternoon, police say a victim with minor injuries was taken to a hospital with the help of a friend. Police are now looking for two suspects last seen running towards the area of Minor Village. The suspects are described as two black males. One was wearing a yellow sweater and the other a gray jacket. This is an ongoing investigation, and we will keep you updated as soon as we learn more. Well, in education news, over 1,500 students from El Paso Community College will graduate in this year's fall commencement ceremonies. Out of those who will walk the stage, 274 are students in dual credit early college, high school, and P-Tech. The first commencement will be for students who have completed their Associates of Applied Science and Certificate of Completion. Now, the second commencement will be for students who have completed their Associates of Arts and Associates of Arts and Teaching. Now, both ceremonies are taking place on December 12th at the Don Haskins Center. Now, after several hours of uncertainty, the 92nd Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl will be getting Arizona State and Duke in a rematch of their 2014 game. The process was thrown into chaos when the University of Notre Dame declined to participate in a bowl game after not being selected to the 12-team college football playoff picture. Now, this led to a long process of who the Sun Bowl would select at its ACC program. Now, ultimately landing the ACC championship teams the Blue Devils in Arizona State, and Duke met at the Sun Bowl back in 2014, where Arizona State prevailed 36-31 in a back-and-forth contest.
After last night's game and then beating Virginia, and they're now conference champions, I think they're great. You know, they won 8 games. They're great in conference, and they bring an exciting brand of football. Coach Manny Diaz has done a tremendous job. We are happy to have the Devils against the Devils again. You know, it's not that far. They can even drive down to El Paso. I hope they stay a couple of days. Hitting somebody that's close to your city is always a boon to the bold business and to the economy of the city.
Now, the 92nd Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl kicks off Wednesday, December 31st at noon over at Sun Bowl Stadium. And we are hoping for nice weather then. Let's take a live look at our tower cam. Looking pretty nice out there. Now let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Robert Bettis. Robert, I am kind of sick of this. It is now warm. I want my sweaters out. I want the layers.
Yeah, you want the weather to decide what it's going to do. Are we going to head toward winter like we were this morning when we woke up and it was freezing cold, or this afternoon when we need to take the sweater off? Yeah, I see your dilemma. I wish I could help, but I'm afraid it's going to get more extreme. 28 was the low temperature this morning at the International Airport. So our first freeze of the year this morning. Not quite for Juarez. They were at 34, 27 Las Cruces, 29 Deming. We were colder than Deming. That is unusual. 37 Ruidoso and 28 Cloudcroft. But then look at the high temperatures today. 65 degrees, way above normal. That's our high so far. 67 for Juarez, 65 Deming, and 60 in Las Cruces. Right now it's 65 at the airport. Winds coming in lightly from the north at about 5 to 6 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight, so another light freeze overnight. We can expect 32 at the airport, 28 down in the valley. But then here comes the high pressure building up for tomorrow. It's going to take us to 70 with that southwesterly breeze. I'm going to have your detailed forecast coming up in just a little bit. Diana.
All right, Robert, thank you. Let's get a live look at traffic. Right now we are looking at I-10 and Schuster, looking pretty clear on both sides. Now, sticking with the roads, if you live in Doña Ana County, you may want to start planning ahead for some longer drive times in the mornings. A $2 million roadway project along US 70 is scheduled to start today, and the New Mexico Department of Transportation says it will affect drive times. Construction is expected to last until December 22nd. Now, until then, drivers can expect lane closures going east and west on US 70 from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening. For a complete list of road closures, you can visit our website, KTSM.com. Now let's go to our national headlines. Artificial intelligence has made major advancements in recent years, and lawmakers around the country are debating how to regulate the growing technology. In today's Political Minute, News Nation's Blake Berman breaks down the president's recent announcement.
A single playbook for artificial intelligence? I'm Blake Berman, host of The Hill on News Nation. President Trump announcing he plans to sign an executive order this week streamlining rules for AI across the country. The president posting on social media, quote, "There must be only one rule book if we are going to continue to lead in AI," adding, "You can't expect a company to get 50 approvals every time they want to do something." Now, earlier this year, Republicans debated a provision in the One Big Beautiful Bill around states' abilities to regulate AI. It never made it in the final legislation, critics saying states should have a say. According to the National Conference of State Legislatures, 38 states and counting have adopted or enacted around 100 measures on AI this year alone. They cover a wide array of issues, including ownership of AI-generated content, transparency, and consumer protections. I'm Blake Berman, and this is the News Nation Political Minute.
And researchers at a California institute have developed a new drug closely related to LSD that gives the therapeutic benefits of a psychedelic without any hallucinogenic effects. Now, the substance has already completed the first phase of clinical trials, where researchers say it produced fast and long-lasting benefits in patients with major depressive disorder. Researchers say this could be a huge breakthrough for 1 billion people who will struggle with neuropsychiatric disorders at some point in their lives.
Wants to add new function, add a door, add a roof. They can, build those components. We can essentially do the same thing with molecules. We can build parts of that molecule to enhance its therapeutic properties, to limit its side effects.
The Institute tell us only 1/3 of patients responded to their first antidepressant, which can be especially frustrating for people with PTSD. Now, the Border Highway Connector project in New Mexico is moving forward, and a completion date has been announced. Coming up, we go over your thoughts in today's In the Comments segment. Thanks for watching KTSM 9+, always putting local first.
Scan to download KTSM Plus free.
Welcome back. Well, in today's In the Comments segment, the Border Highway Connector project in New Mexico is moving forward. Completion of the final design includes all major engineering studies and environmental documentation required to advance the project towards construction. Now, this will now allow them to move forward with land acquisition and construction bidding. The project is designed to improve transportation in Sunland Park and Santa Teresa areas. The NM 139 Border Highway Connector will be a new roadway that will extend between Pete B. Dominici and Boulevard. This is Artcraft Road before turning into Pete Dominici and McNutt Road. Now, the project is expected to open to the public in 2028 or 2029. Now, we shared this story to our social media, and a lot of you had some thoughts that you wanted to share. Now, we begin with Patricia Caracena, who writes, back in the day, we wondered what the designers were on when they came up with the spaghetti bowl. Meanwhile, Omar Reyes writes, some more construction, first I-10, then this. And Onasol Imot simply writes, finally. Now, here at KTSM, we value your opinion and we want to hear more from you. So make sure that you are following us on all our social media platforms to keep in touch with us through the comments. Well, TNA Wrestling is wrapping up its visit to El Paso, but not without spreading some holiday cheer. Coming up, how they got in the spirit. You're watching KTSM 9+.
Your local weather authority, Robert Bettis, the Borderland's only certified broadcast meteorologist.
It was an unexpected holiday call for one Tennessee police department. Officers say a deer wandered into a Christmas shop. Now, there is still no word on whether it was looking for a last-minute gift or just checking out the decor, but it managed to get itself stuck in a chair right in the middle of the store. Now, eventually, police say they helped free the deer from the chair and guided it safely back outside. Now, luckily, no person, animal, or holiday decoration was harmed in the process.
It's a stroke of genius. The deer chair. It's the hottest holiday gift of the year. It's part chair, part deer. You pick which one to sit on.
Yeah, I was just saying that it reminded me of another story.
Yes.
Of this raccoon.
That one more disturbing, though.
Yeah, raccoon broke into a liquor store.
Yeah.
And was found drunk in the restroom.
Yeah.
So.
Accident, nature run wild. Oh, I don't think so, my friend. Those raccoons, watch out.
And the deer, too, apparently.
And with that holiday cheer, let's talk weather. Okay, that was pretty neat. The deer okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's safe.
Yeah, great. Well, did they get the chair free, or does he get a free chair?
I guess we'll never know.
We'll never know the rest of the story. Here are the low temperatures from this morning. Boom! Finally, our first freeze. Look at that. 28. The closest we'd come is 33 at the airport. Now, we're used to going below freezing down in the valley, but at the airport, there's usually a little bit of a breeze that keeps it from getting that cold, but that was not the case this morning. It was just clear. It was just bone dry. And look at the huge diurnal range, or the range from the low to the high. We're talking 35 to 40 degrees, and that will be the case over the next few days. 27 Silver City, 34 for Juarez, and 31 for Van Horn this morning. I think we'll be a couple degrees warmer overnight tonight, so not quite down to 28 at the airport. Here are the highs: 63 Alamogordo, 65 Deming, 67 Juarez, and we've been at 65, 64 for Van Horn. Let's compare to other towns in the southwest: 54 Dallas, 60 Austin, 65 San Antonio, 66 down in Brownsville, and 72 for Phoenix so far today. A look at the satellite radar composite. Of course, we talked about this even on Sunday, how this ridge of high pressure would settle in. Well, when it does settle in, it's going to raise our temperatures. So we're going to be even warmer tomorrow. Now, we're going to be real close. Will we be 69 or 70? I'm going to play it on the 70 side because that pressure really takes off, and we get a southwesterly breeze tomorrow afternoon. So we'll see. It's exciting. Either way, we're going to be very warm for our Tuesday. 60 is the temperature in Las Cruces right now. We've got a dew point at 13. That's another critical factor. We can't get that cold at night and this warm in the day without it being extremely dry. If we were very humid, of course, we would stay warmer overnight at night, but we're bone dry, desert style, and therefore we get so cold. Here is your exclusive 9-hour forecast for tomorrow. I'm raising it to 70 degrees. I think it's the beginning of a little bit of a trend. Sunshine. Winds will be out of the southwest at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. Yes, another cold morning because we're going down to about 32 at the airport tonight. Here is your allergy forecast. 9s for the next 3 days. Low temperatures: 31 Alamogordo will be at 32, 29 Las Cruces, 27 Deming, and 33 for Juarez tonight. High temperatures tomorrow. Everybody scooting up. 64 Alamogordo, 56 Rodda, 66 for Las Cruces, 70 for both El Paso and for Juarez. Now, coming up, I'm going to have your exclusive 9-day forecast, and tomorrow's high isn't even the warmest one of the week. You stay with us.
Well, we are back with more local news. TNA Wrestling wrapped up its toy drive this weekend at the El Paso County Coliseum. Now, they teamed up with the Operation Hope to collect new unwrapped toys for children in need throughout the Borderland. The toy drive ran December 5th through the 7th during TNA's live events here at the El Paso County Coliseum. Now, today they presented the toys during a news conference, telling us that it's all about spreading holiday joy.
This was something that meant a lot to me and something that I jumped right at and didn't hesitate. So, yeah, it's been amazing, and the 3 days were crazy and busy and packed. As you know, El Paso loves this professional wrestling, and I'm glad that TNA Wrestling was able to give it to them.
Well, TNA Wrestling President Carlos Silva told KTSM that supporting the local community is part of who they are, and they're always proud to partner with Operation Hope whenever they are in the Borderland. Now, the El Paso County Elections Department honored and recognized the first, second, and third place winners of the 2025 I Voted election stickers. Novali Fortenberry, a 10th grader at Eastwood High School, took this year's first place. Sofia Garcia, a senior at Horizon High School, came in second place, and Jamilet Garcia from Mountain High School took third place. Now, the winners were recognized in person today during Commissioner's Court. And we spoke with the winner who shares her thoughts on the importance of voting.
It's a way that the people are able to speak. You don't even have to be that oh yeah, I'm important, so that means my vote matters. Everyone's vote matters. So no matter if you're an adult or you just turned 18 and you're voting, it's important for everyone to have their own voice.
Now, as always, first place winning designs will be distributed to voters during the 2026 election season. Now, this year, the El Paso County Elections Department says it received 162 submissions. Now, don't go anywhere. We still have another half hour of news and weather coming your way after the break. You're watching KTSM 9+. Welcome back to KTSM 9 Plus. I'm Diana Castillo. Monica Cortez has the day off. Now we're following breaking news. Beatings, medical neglect, insufficient, and even rotten food are among the long list of allegations made against Camp East Montana, the migrant detention facility on Fort Bliss. Now, just a few hours ago, several human rights groups led by the ACLU of Texas are sending a letter to ICE officials to stop detaining migrants at the camp. Now, in a detailed news release, the groups summarized alleged horrific conditions, including beatings and sexual abuse by officers against detained migrants. Now, the letter follows months of interviews with dozens of migrants held at the camp and is accompanied by several sworn declarations by migrants detained at the facility, now graphically describing abuse by guards, supervisors, and others. Now, this isn't the first time Camp East Montana has come under fire. Earlier this year, a Washington Post report claimed that Fort Bliss facility violated over 60 federal detention standards in the first 50 days of its opening. The detention center opened its doors this summer. Now, KTSM has reached out to Immigration and Customs Enforcement for comment, and officials with the local ICE office asked us to reach out to the Department of Homeland Security office in Washington. We are still awaiting a response. To read the full documents and to stay up to date with this story, you can go ahead and visit our website at ktsm.com. Now, a man from Horizon is in jail after being arrested for child pornography. This is 29-year-old Roman Morales on your screen there. And according to the Horizon Police Department, the arrest happened Friday morning after police found child pornography and child sexual assault material on the man's cell phone through a search warrant. Morales was booked into the El Paso County Jail with a bond of $150,000. Now to an update. A woman has died after a crash in El Paso's Lower Valley early Sunday morning. According to El Paso police, officers responded at around 3 a.m. at North Loop Drive in reference to a single vehicle crash. The preliminary investigation revealed that 68-year-old Silvia Morales was driving east on North Loop Drive and struck a metal pole after attempting to make a left turn onto Yarborough Drive. Morales was taken to a hospital where she later died as a result of her injuries. Now, meanwhile, El Paso police are investigating a shooting that happened at UTEP early Sunday. Now, according to EPPD, the shooting happened around 1:30 in the morning on North Mesa. Now, new this afternoon, police say a victim with minor injuries was taken to a hospital with the help of a friend. Police are now looking for two suspects last seen running towards the area of Minor Village. The suspects are described as two black males, one wearing a yellow sweater and another a gray jacket. Now, this is an ongoing investigation, and we will, of course, keep you updated as soon as we learn more. Now, on the day of the campaign filing deadline, a massive shakeup has hit the Democratic Senate primary. Former U.S. Congressman Colin Allred dropped from the U.S. Senate race and will now run for the U.S. House of Representatives. In a Dallas district, Jasmine Crockett announcing only about an hour ago that she is running for U.S. Senate. Dylan McKim is in Dallas with the latest on the announcement.
Any moment now, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett will officially announce her intent to run for the U.S. Senate, something she's been debating for months. Crockett is a former public defender and civil rights attorney. She served as a state lawmaker in 2021 and has been in Congress representing a portion of Dallas since 2023. Former Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson handpicked Crockett to be her successor. She gained nationwide exposure last summer with a primetime speech at the Democratic National Convention touting Kamala Harris and slamming Donald Trump.
Kamala Harris has a resume. Donald Trump has a rap sheet.
She's gained viral fame for fiery sound bites against Republicans, Governor Greg Abbott, who she once called Governor Hot Wheels. Her announcement will likely set up a primary matchup with State Representative James Tallarico. Former Congressman Colin Allred ended his Senate campaign early Monday morning. In a statement, Allred said, quote, "In the past few days, I've come to believe that a bruising Senate Democratic primary and runoff would prevent the Democratic Party from going into this critical election unified against the danger posed to our communities and our Constitution by Donald Trump and one of his Republican bootlickers, Paxton, Cornyn, or Hunt." Allred is now shifting his focus to Congressional District 33. Governor Abbott posted on social media over the weekend that he believes Crockett would be pummeled in a Senate race because of her progressive agenda. He also took his own dig at her at the end of the message, saying, quote, "On the bright side, maybe she'll end up with a job on The View," end quote. Reporting here in Dallas, I'm Dylan McKim.
All right, switching gears, let's get a look at weather. Here is a live look at our tower cam, looking pretty nice out there. And we have Chief Meteorologist Robert Bettis. Robert, it was cold this morning, and then now it's hot. I can't keep up.
I just stay inside where it's, you put it on digital thing and then you just stay even. But you're right, it was 28 degrees this morning. I know the leaves were fluttering. There's a day when it gets so cold they start to come down. Really pretty. We're almost there, but we're going to go the other direction on temperature and confuse the trees again. 65 is the temperature right now at the airport. So after 28 low temperature this morning, what a range. Here are the other highs. 67 for Juarez, 64 Van Horn, 60 for Las Cruces, 65 for Deming. Satellite radar composite. Well, this building ridge of high pressure ensures tomorrow we get even warmer when you throw in a little bit of a southwest breeze. I suspect we're going to be very close to 70 degrees for our Tuesday. We come back a little bit on Wednesday, and then our warmest day shall be Thursday with a high of 74 degrees. Now, the 70s can't last, so I'm going to have your detailed 9-day forecast coming up in just a bit. Diana.
All right, Robert, thank you. Well, the New Mexico Department of Health continues to strongly recommend hepatitis B vaccination for newborns with the first dose within 24 hours of birth. The statement comes in response to the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices recommendation to delay the initial dose for babies whose mothers test negative for hepatitis B. Now, according to the Department of Health, since 1991, when a birth dose was recommended for all newborns, hepatitis B infections have decreased by 99% in children and teens. Now, the New Mexico Department of Health recommendation aligns with the American Academy of Pediatrics and many other professional health organizations. Now, from our D.C. newsroom, if Congress doesn't act soon, millions of Americans could see their health insurance premiums spike. The Kaiser Family Foundation warns as many as 4 million Americans won't be able to afford health care. Now in the House, Republicans and Democrats released what they call the Common Ground framework. Now that would extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits for a year, adding income limits and guardrails. But so far, Democratic leadership isn't on board with the Common Ground approach, instead supporting a 3-year extension of the tax credits. And Senate Majority Leader John Thune promised Democrats a vote, but didn't promise it would pass. Now this weekend, House Republicans huddled over with their own ideas as they also tried to get the White House on board.
House Republicans are very much in favor of Americans having affordable health insurance. They want Americans to have access. And the president's given pretty clear guidelines. He wants money to go to patients and not to insurance companies.
Let us deal with the impending inability of people to pay their health care. And that is what you do by addressing the tax credit. And then if Republicans want to have a real conversation about health care reform, again, every week they've had a plan coming next week. So let this be the week that they actually have a plan, but let's deal with those tax credits now.
Well, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says he wants a vote on some proposal by Thursday. Now, the Supreme Court heard arguments today in a case dealing with the president's power to fire officials at independent agencies. Washington correspondent Maddie Beertemple reports the conservative justices seemed likely to side with the president, while the liberal justices expressed concern that this would give him too much power.
Trump's move to fire Federal Trade Commission official Rebecca Slaughter without cause is now before the high court. The president's lawyer is asking justices to overturn a 90-year-old precedent known as Humphreys that limits when presidents can fire board members.
Humphreys poses a direct threat to our constitutional structure and, as a result, the liberty of the American people.
Solicitor General D. John Sauer says these agencies amount to an unaccountable fourth branch of government, and the president should be able to fire people. But liberal justices warned that gives too much power to the president, taking away the independence and expertise of agencies.
You're asking us to destroy the structure of government. The result of what you want is that the president is going to have massive, unchecked, uncontrolled power.
Conservative justices seemed to side with the president, though Justice Brett Kavanaugh said he shares concerns that this could be a slippery slope to other agencies losing independence, like the Federal Reserve. It comes after President Trump has said he wanted to fire Chairman Jerome Powell over interest rate decisions.
How would you distinguish the Federal Reserve from agencies such as the Federal Trade Commission?
Sauer said the Fed is a unique structure that wouldn't be affected by this specific challenge. A decision on the case is expected by next summer. In Washington, I'm Maddie Beertemple.
Well, the Hollywood movie that shut down parts of downtown El Paso last summer to use as their set is topping the nomination board at the Golden Globes. Coming up, what it's nominated for. Then, the 92nd Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl will be getting Arizona State and Duke in a rematch of the 2014 game. We go over your comments. Thanks for watching KTSM 9+, always putting local first.
Scan to download KTSM Plus free. Your local weather authority, Robert Bettis, the Borderland's only certified broadcast meteorologist.
Welcome back, and check this out. Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, the movie featuring Leonardo DiCaprio that used El Paso's downtown as its filming location, scored a leading 9 nominations at the 83rd Golden Globe Awards. Now, the film landed nods for its cast and for Anderson's screenplay and direction. It is competing in the Globe's category for comedy and musicals. And Nikki Glaser is returning as host to the Globes on January 11th.
Did you say the comedy category?
The comedy category in musicals.
Okay, I did not see the film, but I did not hear that it was a comedy.
I didn't either. Honestly, I'm very confused by the category, but that means we have to watch it.
Yeah, you know, a lot of movies are now shooting in downtown El Paso.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Did you ever see Liam Neeson in Memory, the movie Memory? It's funny, you watch these movies and you're like, I know there, I've parked there, I got a ticket there.
Oh, well, that's what I'm hoping to get from this one.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah, we still have time though to watch it.
Of course you do. Yeah, no, it's on. It's on. You can buy it online.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look outside right now. Now, is this a live feed from our tower cam, or is it the Martian lander from NASA? You decide. No, it's beautiful out there. Clear, and of course, when you're bone dry, have barely any wind, and you're clear as a bell, you can have these extreme days where we started the morning at 28 degrees here in El Paso, 27 in Las Cruces, and then we move right up into the mid to upper 60s, 60 right now in Las Cruces. Your low temperature 27. We were 28 at the airport. Now down in the valley, we've been used to getting down to the upper 20s so far, but usually there's a breeze out there at the airports, keeping it just a little bit warmer. That was not the case this morning, so here's our first official freeze of the year. 29 Deming, 34 for Juarez, 31 Van Horn, and 37 up in Rodda. So think about that. We were much colder, about 10 degrees than Ruidoso. Here are the high temperatures so far today. 63 Alamogordo, 65 Deming, 67 for Juarez, 64 Van Horn, and we've been at 65 so far. Satellite radar composite. Now, I've watched this basically zone of high pressure, and it's going to balloon over the next few days. In fact, tomorrow, I do believe if everything lines up just right, we could touch 70 degrees. So I'm going to play it on the warmer side because of the southwesterly breezes at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. Here are the temperatures right now in your neighborhood. Once again, down in the valley, expected to go down to about 28. I think we're going to be a little warmer at the airport tonight, but still 32 degrees. Prepare for a cold night. Here is your 9-hour forecast for tomorrow. High temperature, I'm raising that up to 70, way above normal as that high pressure reaches its crescendo later in the week on Thursday specifically. Your allergy forecast, 9s for the next 3 days. That's in the moderately high range. 29 your low temperature tonight. Las Cruces clear. Light winds tomorrow. Southwesterly breeze. It's going to pop you up to about 66. Tonight for us at the airport, 32, and then down in the valley, 28 degrees tomorrow. Our high, 70 degrees. But if we hit it, it will still not be a record. Now, only KTSM gives you 9 full days of weather. On Wednesday, sunshine, 69 degrees, beautiful, just slightly cooler. And then on Thursday, that's when that bubble of high pressure really takes off. 74 the high that day, 72 on Friday, also very warm. Then we'll cruise back down into the 60s, but still these 60s way above normal. 69 Saturday, 67 Sunday, partly cloudy on Monday with a high temperature of 68 degrees. Diana.
All right, Robert, thank you. Now let's take a look at traffic. Oh, this is I-10, and okay, looking pretty clear out there. If this is part of your commute, a little bit of a slowdown, but looking pretty good. I-10 and Viscount also looking pretty good. I mean, this is around the time that commute gets a little busy, but it's moving pretty smoothly from what it looks like. Well, in today's In the Comments segment, after several hours of uncertainty, the 92nd Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl will be getting Arizona State and Duke in a rematch of the 2014 game. Now, the process was thrown into chaos when the University of Notre Dame declined to participate in a bowl game after not being selected to the 12-team college football playoff picture. Now, this led to a long process of who the Sun Bowl would select as its ACC program, now ultimately landing the ACC championship team. The Blue Devils, Arizona State, and Duke met at the Sun Bowl back in 2014, where Arizona State prevailed 36-31 in a back-and-forth contest. Now, we shared this story to our socials, and many of you had some thoughts that you wanted to share. So we begin with Craig Paxton, who writes, already got tickets a few weeks ago and now really looking forward to seeing these teams in a game. I've wanted to attend for years, can't wait. Now, meanwhile, Jason Weller writes, two top-notch educational institutions with dominating football programs. This will be a fantastic game. And Jerry Thayes simply says, should be a good game. Now, it should be a good game. The 92nd Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl kicks off on Wednesday, December 31st at noon over at Sun Bowl Stadium. Now, to read more on this story, you can head on over to KTSM.com. Now, here at KTSM, we value your opinion and we want to keep hearing from you, so make sure that you are following us on all our social media platforms to keep in touch with us through the comments. Now, don't go anywhere. We will be right back after the break with your last look at weather.
Sponsored by Emergence Health Network.
Hello, once again, it's time for another Mindful Monday, and we have our expert here with us to talk about the holiday blues. Bridget, what do we mean by holiday blues, and how can this have a negative impact?
So the holiday blues oftentimes are temporary feelings of loneliness, sadness, even frustration, or being emotionally overwhelmed. So if we don't take time, for ourselves, it can impact us in a negative way, and it can prolong these emotions.
Okay, so normally, right, you would think you'd feel joyful during this time, but for people, it's not always like this. So what if we recognize that someone we know or that we love is having challenging emotions?
Yeah, definitely. So talk to them, have some open communication, lend a hand, reach out for support, and ask them if they want additional resources if those emotions continue.
Okay, and what kind of resources do we have?
So we have our EHN Crisis Clinic, as well as 988, our crisis hotline, if those emotions decide to escalate at any point in time.
Okay, so reach out. We're here for you. We'll see you again next week.
Segment sponsored by Emergence Health Network.
Here's the last look at your exclusive 9-day forecast. Tomorrow, high temperature 70. If everything aligns correctly, I think that's going to be a really warm day. Right behind it is Wednesday with a high of 69. Then our warmest day, Thursday, 74 degrees as high pressure reaches its maximum. 72 on Friday, and then we return to the upper 60s, which of course upper 60s is about 10 degrees above normal. So just a weird forecast for you. Diana?
Thanks, Robert. Now, just a friendly reminder, starting tonight, NBC Nightly News with Tom Lamas will air live at 5 p.m., followed by KTSM at 5:30, and then KTSM News at 6. See you then.
Hair and wardrobe provided by